Well, hello there. So this film is in the spirit of radical honesty, and I'm just going to let you know a little bit about how things are going for me. Well, the first thing you might notice is my hair is flat. That's always an indicator. When it sticks up, that's feeling good. When it's flat, that's not so good. So physically, I've been feeling really bad for a long time, months actually. So I thought I'd just share a little bit about what I'm doing. So, having hosted retreats for 10 years for other people, and that does make me laugh just thinking about that actually. Well, here I am hosting a retreat for myself, and it's a bit of an unusual one, but then bearing in mind I've got a lot to deal with, I think it's fair enough. So, I break my retreat every time I go visit my mum, which is now in Somerset, about 2 hours drive. And when I go shopping or doing anything like that, but the rest of the time I'm on retreat. Sometimes I go and see someone's quite rare. The rest of the time I'm on retreat and I'm either going around the area, maybe making a film or not, and then being here in this flat. So what's going on for me is that I've got an issue with my skin, which has just been getting gradually more and more intense. So it really began with my skin being dry and itchy, and just down the base of my calves, down by my ankles. And it's been like that for a few months, but gradually over time, especially over the last weeks, what it's been doing, it's been spreading up my body until it's got about halfway at the moment. And how it feels is it's just unbearably itchy, and I just want to kind of scratch it and draw blood, but I'm not born yesterday. I know that'd be a totally stupid thing to do. So what I do is a lot of the time I ignore it, and the rest of the time I will just touch it, stroke it, and when it becomes really unbearable, I'll actually rub it. And that's what I've been doing. And there goes the phone. Well, isn't that interesting? So we'll just switch that one off. Very good. Bit of distraction, it's okay. So it's been more and more unbearable, and I've got a bit of a smile on my face this morning, and I will explain why in a bit. So I've been doing my best to keep my diet basically, as always, plant-based, alkaline, lots of fruits and vegetables, a little bit of animal food, a little bit of what for me is luxury food really, which is wheat in all forms, bread, pastry, whatever, but small amounts. And the skin's really been bothering me. And then there's been various things been going on in my personal life, all to do with other people really, and what's happening to them affecting me. So this is all going on, and this morning I woke up and sleep's been very disturbed and disrupted, which is well, it's almost a lifetime first for me. I'm the kind of person that always sleeps really well, but the last few months worse and worse. And in the beginning of the year I did do a tarot reading. We're still in the beginning of the year, it's only a few days ago, isn't it? So I'm going to show you my tarot reading as a way to get myself into this. So the card I chose for the past is this one here, my past, and this is called the Ten of Cups, satiety, and that is emotional overwhelm. So that is definitely, as soon as that card was turned over, I thought, well, that's it, that is my past. My past is emotional overwhelm, and particularly the whole of 2019, it's been one big emotional overwhelm all the way through really. And the biggest cause of this has been my mother's situation, and in 2019 that's when she got diagnosed with Alzheimer's, broke her hip twice, had to go to hospital twice, got told she wasn't allowed to go back to the care home where she was staying, so had to run around like a blue-ass fly and find somewhere else for her to go. In that year we did also try bringing her to the flat twice, and it just patently and obviously didn't work because she can't actually cope with being here. It just causes her to be too distressed. So all the way through until towards the end of last year, finally managed to find her a home, and it's in a different county, so that was a thing for me to let go of because I was very attached to wanting to have her close by so I could visit her regularly. Even found a home within walking distance, could have visited her every day if that had happened, but it didn't happen. The universe said, you don't want that, it's not happening, whatever you think, so that didn't happen. And it was really my daughter that suggested Somerset, because then she could triple the number of visitors. So rather than just me, she gets my daughter, she gets one of my nieces visiting regularly, so she gets 3 times the amount of visitors. It's all really good. And so that was last year, emotional overwhelm. But so emotional overwhelm, let's get more radically honest with it. Watching my mother have serious accidents, breaking her hip, very distressing, and then the extreme acute distress of watching my mother losing her mind with the Alzheimer's, literally mentally and emotionally sliding into a state of oblivion, from being someone that used to love to talk to strangers at any opportunity to not really being able to cope with speaking to people much at all. Her voice becoming lower and lower and lower until I can hardly hear it. Her hearing becoming so poor it's very hard for her to hear me or anybody else. And then in the middle of all that, changing from 53 kilos to 33 kilos. So yeah, this has all been like distressing beyond belief. And in fact, it has been so much beyond my belief that what I've done is I've witnessed this in many people. And when I had ME particularly badly, this used to happen. Any really strong emotional upset that the person can't cope with, their spirit can't actually cope with that degree of emotional upset, it goes into the physical body. And then of course there's my partner's whole situation with a father with his Parkinson's, then getting the cancer, then having the cancer operation, and her realizing this is having such a strong effect on her youngest sister, and making the choice to leave her job, leave me, and go out and live in a different country, thousands of miles away in Tenerife. Yeah, of course, this is all like massively upsetting, and yet throughout it all, because throughout the whole experience of my mother and my partner and my partner's dad, and I could mention other people, I'll just keep it to them. There's other people that have been, their distressing situations have all had an effect on me too, no question about it. So because I have always known that these are things I need to just do my best but go through the experience, that's what I've been doing, and I haven't been weeping, wailing and gnashing of my teeth, as perhaps it might have been better if I had. Just don't seem to be able to do it. I don't seem to be able to have feelings of great distress at all. So it all goes into the physical body, into the skin, and so literally my skin is unbearable. That's how it feels. And so with all this going on, I thought, fuck this, I could really do with some kind of a change. Lying in bed this morning, not having slept enough, feeling the sensation in my skin developing as I become awake, feeling like, oh my goodness me, another day of this. What am I going to do? And so I'm lying there tuning in, and one of the thoughts that occurs to me, could it be that my blood is acid? If I've got acid blood, that would explain the irritation of the skin. It would explain that when I do this, I sometimes get white flecks falling over my face. None of these things are good, so maybe that's what I need to do. Perhaps I accept I've got an acid blood condition and get much more strongly alkaline with my diet than I am. Cut out all animal food, cut out anything to do with wheat. So I did the test, and basically it's a test to find out the pH of my blood, just how acid or neutral or alkaline actually is my blood. So the way you do this, you don't take a blood sample, it's really easy. You spit into a tube and you wee into another tube. So I've got these two tubes, one's got spit, one's got wee. Put some universal indicator solution into the tubes and it turns a colour. And with bated breath I waited and put the drops in, and woo! I couldn't believe it. pH of my saliva is pH 7.0, which is neutral, which is absolutely ideal. Totally right, nothing wrong there. Okay, well, maybe my urine's really acid, maybe that's what's going to come up. So I test my urine, 7.5, slightly alkaline. So actually, my condition in terms of pH of the body is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with me in that sense at all. So I did a blood pressure and heart rate. Let's see if there's anything disturbed there. No, 117/70. 7 was the blood pressure, which the World Health Organization regards to be optimal. Nothing wrong there. Heart rate, well, sometimes my heart rate's a bit high. What's it like? 56 beats per minute. It's far better than the average. Average is 72, 56, like an athlete's blood pressure. And heart rate is absolutely nothing wrong at all. So it's like, meanwhile, here I am, it's just getting so unbearable. What am I going to do? And then I get a brainwave. And I shall go back to my tarot reading now, because when I do the tarot reading for my present, it's this one. And this is the Ace of Cups, and the Ace of Cups is a gift of love. And I do feel great love through doing my meditation and through being on my retreat and having loving things for my partner and for people in my family, my mother and the friends that I know and love. A lot of feelings of love, so I could relate to that. So then I had this brainwave, literally. And I went into one of my cupboards where I keep all my herbs and remedies and such like, and I found this flask, and it was lying on its side. It's empty now, but it wasn't empty when I found it. So I thought to myself, right, okay, I know what's in this flask. Okay, so get your head around this, right? In 1999, when I lived in Middlewood, and I'll give you the link to Middlewood, so when I talk about Middlewood, you want to know what it is. There's the film, you can see for yourself what Middlewood is. That's it. So I lived there for 4 years in an intentional community, low impact living. Wonderful experience. One of the most challenging, harsh and beautiful experiences of my life. 4 years of living in nature, in a low impact structure, off grid, no mains electricity, no mains anything actually. My bathroom was the river, all the rest of that. Oh, you can see a little bit of liquid formed in there now. So anyway, in 1999, get this, 21 years ago, I made this tincture. And this tincture is a very simply made tincture. I just got some good cannabis and added some alcohol and gave it a good shake and shook it every day for about a month. And then did nothing with it. 21 years later, I'm pulling this flask out of my cupboard and thinking, So the other part of my story is this. A week ago, and it was a very emotional moment for me. Really, I realised it's time to let go of one of my greatest pleasures in life, which is to enjoy a smoke. So no more smoke, done. So I haven't had any for a week, and that's been actually not very exciting or dramatic, because the skin's been the most significant thing, and I've actually let go of smoking many times in my life, even like a few weeks ago actually, and this effect on the skin was not made any better or any worse through that, so it made absolutely no difference whatsoever. But there is something else which I want to mention. Now see if I can actually do this. Yes, I can. One really trivial little thing that has just very slowly got worse over the decades is when I went into a swimming pool in Butlins in the 1980s. What a long time ago that was. I contracted athlete's foot, and it flares up and it calms down, it flares up and it calms down. But gradually over the years, what's happened is the fungus has got into the bed of the nails on one foot and started infecting it. And I've kept it at bay for all these decades by giving my foot the occasional tea tree and lavender essential oil treatment. Always knocked it down, but never actually eradicated it. So my daughter suggested to me, why didn't you really deal with it? Pharmaceutical medicines come on a lot more than in those days, because in those days you used to have to take something called nystatin or griseofulvin, and you have to take them for 18 months, and they're not very nice, they're pretty nasty drugs really. But things got a lot better, so I was persuaded by my daughter to try this, and it's called terbinafine. So you only have to take it for 4 months. Well, I've been taking that one a day for 4 months. Did liver function tests before, during and after, and all the blood tests showed the liver was absolutely fine, no problem at all. So it's been able to cope with it on that level. So I've taken that for 4 months. I stopped that about 5 days ago. I finally finished the 4-month course. The athlete's foot, proper name onychomycosis, has been treated and it seems like it's gone. So one of the questions in my mind, if it's not acid blood, because your blood's alkaline, if it's not, could it be? What could it be? Could it be this pharmaceutical drug? Could that be having the effect on me and making the skin problem worse? Because I've been taking that about a little bit longer than I've had the problem with the skin. Maybe, possibly, don't know. Or then the other possibility, of course, which is what's going on in my life. So although I don't feel it, I think my skin feels a constant distress about my mother's degeneration, mentally and emotionally. And to complete the picture, she's actually really picking up physically, more physically capable than she's been before, gets into the car more quickly each time. She's regained continence, so she's no longer incontinent. She doesn't have to wear old people's nappers anymore. So she's got that whole freedom back, which is brilliant. And she's actually gained a little bit of weight. She's 35 kilos, so that's great. So that should be all right. And then something happened on Friday, and I wonder whether this might have an effect on the way the skin's being a little bit more because on Friday morning she was attacked by one of the other residents with a walking stick. Kid you not, I get this report on the phone. Yeah, the carer noticed that your mother was hit 10 times on the back of her legs by this woman's wielding a walking stick, and it took that long to separate the woman from her walking stick and get her away from my mother, and she managed to get a good few whacks in on the carer as well. And that was Friday morning. So I wonder whether that perhaps might be something that has really been affecting me. And again, it's like emotionally I'm not distressed about it, I'm not bawling my eyes out at all, and yet of course I do feel upset about it. Sure I do. It was a really horrific thing to experience in terms of a phone call. I went to see her the following day and she had no memory at all, didn't mention it at all. So it's like one of the upsides of the Alzheimer's is if something really horrific happens, it seems they don't remember. So that's as sweet as it is bitter that you give them a great experience. They don't remember that either, but it doesn't matter. They still have the great experience. They still have the horrific experience, whatever it is. So all this is going on, and of course I am living, it must have been almost a month now that my partner and I are living in the separate parts of the world, and I am concerned about her because it isn't easy for looking after her dad. Her dad's had a cancer operation, he's still got the Parkinson's, he's a urinary tract infection, there's a load of stuff been going on there, and her younger sister has been very worn out through caring for her dad for all this time, and it must be such a relief that her older sister stepping in and doing it, but it's all difficult situations. So I wonder to what extent any of or all of these things are bothering me, but this is why I want to report. I'm reading a science fiction book, right, and it's a guy called Xixin Liu, and I'm going to do a film about China in the near future, because my simple advice to you is watch China, be aware of China, research China. If you're a human being alive on the planet of Earth, you need to know about the Chinese, and it's called The Wandering Earth, and it's actually a book of short stories, and I'm just reading one of the short stories, and it is called Taking Care of God. Beautiful title, absolutely wonderful story. So I'm reading that, and I have my 10 milliliters of this, and about an hour later I'm reading a book and I'm just laughing, and I just think, oh, this is so funny. And that is really where I'm at. So one of the things I'm aware of is that we do all have an endocannabinoid system, and mine has not been receiving any medicine for a week until this morning, when it's received it in a different form. So in a tincture form this time, and within the hour, haven't had any breakfast yet, it really has helped. So I'm aware of the skin, still aware of the skin, and yet my attitude towards it is chilled. And so just before I started making this film, I thought what I would do is I would do my meditation. So I have to do a good 20 minutes body work first, which is the Qigong. Sometimes, I will actually show you this entire routine in case you want to do it for yourself. And at the end of it, I do my meditation, which, as you see the link to the film on the meditation, it's a 60-second meditation. But I've been doing that for quite some weeks now, and it's only 4 days a week. You're not allowed to do it 7 days a week. You're not allowed to do it for more than minutes. I've done that for several weeks, and today I thought I'm going to really spoil myself. I'm going to give myself 2 minutes, because the idea is roughly 3 times preparation to 1 times meditation. So I've been doing 20 minutes Qigong, 2 minutes meditation. That's still way over the 3 times 3 to 1 factor. So that's still within the parameters of the protocol which I'm following. So I did it. Did a meditation, and it's the same as always. Every single time I do this meditation, I slip immediately into gratitude, no matter what might be going on for me. And also, I don't touch my skin. I just sit down. I've done this vigorous Qigong with a good lot of breathing, and I just drop into self-awareness, awareness of being present. And I just feel so grateful to everything and everyone. So that is exactly what happened immediately before I made this film, coupled with the wonderful benefits of the green medicine, which I've been fasting from for a week. So that's where I'm up to. So it's just all a bit of a giggle for me at the moment, having a really great time, really enjoying my day, and very grateful to share with you. And I feel such gratitude. And this is something that my partner did with me. We would lie in bed in the morning, and she would just come out with these words, and she would say, I'm grateful to be lying in this warm bed with this lovely cover. This person that I love, I feel really nice and warm and comfortable in here, and I'll go open the curtain and I will see the lovely view outside, and just talking her way through gratitude. And that's something I do so recommend. So I'm going to finish this film by talking my way through my gratitude, which is I'm so grateful that I have a physical body, and my physical body causes me to have sensations, and I can choose to interpret these sensations in whichever way that I choose. But my body's making me very aware of it at the moment, so I'm just giving it, really wanted me to do that, that's for sure. I'm aware that I've got this wonderful fleece rug that my feet are resting on. I'm sitting in a very nice, comfortable chair with a special wedge cushion to support my back, so my back doesn't get in pain, which is really so cool as well. And I'm warm, and outside it's raining and it's very windy. It's very windy today. And so I'm having the gratitude of being able to look at the rain and the wind and not be blasted by it, and I'm not cold and warm. So feeling so much gratitude from all that. Feeling so much gratitude to every single one of you people that choose to watch these films. Thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate that so much. Gratitude for my fairy lights here. Gratitude and great love for my partner, for all members of my family, all my friends, all my loved ones, and for you. And for the plants, always the plants. Great gratitude for the plants. They're so beautiful. So great love to you. And I will finish by saying that the last card, the card I got for my future, this was done about a week ago, is peace. So this is it. My opportunity now is to experience peace. The Two of Swords. Peace, 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 peace out.